Good morning, students. Students, we are continue with our chapter number 4, agriculture. Okay. In our last video, we have discussed about technological and institutional reforms. This one topic we have discussed in our last video. Okay. And now I am taking the further topic of this chapter, and the name of the topic is contribution of agriculture to the national economy. Okay. Employment and output. Uh, in the very beginning, I would like to give you the meaning of this topic. Students, contribution of agriculture to the national economy. Economy, you know very well, it means that what is the role of our agriculture in improving our national economy. How agriculture is paying the contribution in the economic growth of India, employment and output. So these things we will discuss in this topic. As you all know that agriculture has been the backbone of the Indian economy. Its share in the gross domestic product. Students, you are familiar with the word GDP, okay, and you know the full form of this GDP is gross domestic product. So the share of the agriculture in the GDP has registered a declining trend from 1951 onwards. Okay, in 2010 to 11, about 52% of the total work. Let me explain this thing. Student, we are discussing that our agriculture is playing the major role in the back in our Indian economy. That's why agriculture is known as the backbone of our Indian economy, because we all are familiar with the statement that are lots of industries, lots of mills and lots of factories are working with the help of raw material and that raw material we are getting from our agriculture only. Okay, so our agriculture is working as the basic for lots of industries. So it's very clear that agriculture has a major role in our economy. Okay, in 2010-11, about 52% of the total work 52% of the total workforce was employed by the farm sector, which makes more than half of the Indian population dependent on agriculture. It means if we have taken the ratio of 2010-11, so we can say that 52% of total workforce was employed by the farm sector, and which makes more than half of the Indian population dependent on agriculture, okay, for subsistence. The declining share of agriculture in the GDP is a matter of serious concern, okay. But we also familiar with the fact that our agriculture's role, okay, our agriculture's contribution in GDP is decreasing day by day. So it's a matter of serious concern, because any decline and stagnation means any decline and any barrier in agriculture will lead to a decline in other spheres of the economy. Okay, it means these lines are explaining that if our agriculture's contribution is declining in the GDP, then it's a matter of serious concern. So government as well as people should be aware about it. Okay, so any type of barrier, any type of decline in agriculture will lead to a decline in other spheres of economy, having wider implications for society. Students, you know, considering the importance of agriculture in India, the government of India made concerted efforts to modernize agriculture. And you all know that our government is also very aware about the thing that our agriculture's contribution in our GDP should be in the increasing amount. So government is also paying the contribution to improve the condition of our agriculture in our India. Okay, students, so which type of steps our government have taken? So let us discuss about these. Our government is taking many steps to modernize our agriculture, like Indian Council of Agriculture Research, establishment of Indian Council of Agriculture Research. Okay, students, short form we can say ICAR. So agriculture universities. Our government has set up different types of agriculture universities, and lots of high profile scientists related to agriculture are working in these universities, and they are giving their new and advanced policies so that farmers can receive awareness about the agriculture. Veterinary services and animal breeding centers also. Okay, lots of animal breeding centers are also opening in our different states. Horticulture development. Horticulture we have discussed in our last video. Okay, it means cultivation of fruits and vegetables is known as horticulture. Horticulture development, research and development in the field of meteorology. Okay students, meteorology means weather and weather forecast. So all these different type of institutions and organizations are setting up day by day, and these organizations are working with the help of government only. Okay students, so these were given priority for improving Indian agriculture. Okay, so, apart from this, improving the rural infrastructure was also considered essential for the same. Okay students, now just see this table 4.1. Okay, what's the topic? India growth rate of GDP and major sectors. So we can say that in agriculture sector in 2013 to 14 it was 4.2%. Now we are taking further in 2014 to 15 it was 0.2%, and in 15-16 it was 1.1%, and these are different sectors. So this is our total GDP. So students, from the table 4.1 it is clear that though the GDP growth rate is increasing over the years, it is not generating sufficient employment opportunities in the country. The growth rate in agriculture has been decelerating, which is an alarming situation. It means alarming situation means we should pay more and more attention to improve the condition of our crops, and to improve the condition in our agriculture. Today Indian farmers are facing a big challenge from international competition and reduction in the public investment in agriculture sector. Okay students, it means let me explain the statement that in today's life Indian farmers are also facing a big challenge from international competition. Okay students, because if an Indian farmer he would like to sell his crop, his any type of product in international market, then he is supposed to face very different type of problems. Okay, because in international market if he would like to sell his product, then it's not easy. Okay students, lots of problems he is facing. Just discuss these. Subsidy on fertilizers is decreased, leading to increase in the cost of production. Students, subsidy means, let me explain this term to you. Subsidy means economic help from government. Okay, economic some type of economic help given by government to a farmer. I am repeating, some type of economic help given by government to a farmer. So this economic help is known as subsidy. Subsidy on fertilizers is decreased. You know, it is the responsibility of our government that the subsidy which is supposed to be given to a farmer, it should be increased, not it should be decreased. Okay, but in our India, a particular subsidy what a farmer is receiving, it's not very high. In fact, it is very low. So it is also a major problem with the farmer. Subsidy on fertilizers is decreased, leading to increase in the cost of production. Moreover, reduction in import duties on agriculture products have proved detrimental to agriculture in the country. Farmers are withdrawing their investment from agriculture, okay, causing a downfall in the employment in agriculture. As a conclusion, we can say that if the farmers are not getting very high profit from the agriculture, so it's very obvious that a farmer he don't want to invest more and more money in agriculture. And if he don't want to invest more and more money in agriculture, then how the production can be good? So it is also a major problem. Agriculture, so it causing a downfall in the employment in agriculture. Okay students, so this was our topic, contribution of agriculture to the national economy, employment and output. So we have seen in this topic that are no doubt that our agriculture is known as the backbone of our economic system, but after all our Indian farmer is facing very different type of difficult situations. Okay, and it is the duty of our government that lots of facilities and lots of high profile technical facilities and materials, or these and high subsidy, all these things should be provided to farmers. Only then our agriculture can improve. Okay students, now I am taking other topic, impact of globalization on our agriculture. In this topic we will discuss that what is the impact of globalization on agriculture. Students, you know, globalization is not a new phenomena. It was there, it means globalization is not a new topic. Okay, it was there at the time of colonization. Colonization means when the British were dominating in our India, when the British people were in our India. Okay, at that time the people were also aware with the globalization. So let us discuss how globalization was there. In the 19th century, when European traders came to India, we all know that in the 19th century European people came in our India. At that time too, Indian spices were exported to different countries. Okay, we all know about it that at that time British people were also taking our Indian spices and they would like to export in their countries of the world, and farmers of South India were encouraged to grow these crops. And what those British people were doing, those British people were encouraging our South Indian farmers that they have to grow more and more spices, so that they can take those spices and they can export in their countries. So it is clear that at that time globalization was also there. Till today it is one of the important items of export from India. Okay, and we are also aware about the fact that till today also these spices are also exporting to different countries. So it has been started at the time of British people, and still today we are continue with the export of these spices. So students, it is our globalization. Okay, it is our globalization. During the British period, cotton belts of India attracted the British, and we all know that when British people came in our India, our cotton belts, okay, it means our regions which were growing cotton, these areas attracted the British, and ultimately cotton was exported to Britain. And what British people were doing, British people were taking these cotton as a raw material from our India, and they were sending this raw material to their to the Britain. Okay, and with the help of this raw material, their industries were working. Cotton textile industry in Manchester and Liverpool flourished, means developed. Okay, developed due to the availability of good quality cotton from India. Okay students, so in Manchester, in Liverpool, these are European countries. Okay students, cities. So the industries and mills in this countries, at that time these industries were also working with the help of raw material. Okay, received by from our India only. So you have read about the Champaran movement which started in 1917 in Bihar. Okay, in history book I think you have studied about it. This was started because farmers of that region were forced to grow indigo. Okay, in 1917 the farmers of Bihar state, the British people were forcing to the farmers that you have to grow indigo, because they were feeling the need of indigo for the growth of their industries which were located in Britain. Okay students, because it was necessary for the textile industries which were located in Britain. As I have told you, they were unable to grow food grains to sustain their families. Okay, those farmers were not free to grow crops by their own choice. People were not free to grow food grains. In fact, Supposed they were pressurized that you have to grow indigo only because they would like to take raw material for the Britain companies. So, with the explanation of these two paragraphs, you can understand that globalization is not a new term. At the time period of British also, we were connected with this globalization, that our Indian raw material we were selling in our other countries. Under globalization, particularly after 1990, the farmers in India have been exposed to new challenges. Okay, when our Indian farmers were came in the contact of other countries farmers, then they were feeling very different type of challenges despite being an important producer. And we all know that our India is the main producer of rice, cotton, rubber, tea, coffee, jute and spices. In spite of that, our agriculture products are not able to compete with the developed countries. Okay students, you know what is the reason? It's okay that our India is producing good type of tea, coffee, spices, but because of but after that our India is these agriculture products are not able to compete with the developed countries. So the main reason, because of the highly subsidized agriculture in those countries. Again I am telling to you, subsidy means economic help from government. Okay, so I can tell you that in those countries it means like USA and European countries. We all know that USA and European countries, these are developed countries. Farmers are also very rich. Okay, and they are getting very high benefit from their production because they people are getting high subsidy from their government because of the highly subsidized agriculture in those countries. Okay students, so they people are European countries, those governments are giving high subsidy to their farmers, but in our India, our Indian farmer is not getting high subsidy. This is the difference, that our Indian farmer is unable to compete with the farmers of developed countries. Okay students, let me explain further. Today Indian agriculture finds itself at the crossroads. It means at the difficult stage. To make agriculture successful and profitable, proper thrust should be given to the improvement of the condition of marginal and small farmers. It means students, if you would like to improve the condition of our agriculture, so it is the duty of our government that special economic help should be given to the poor and small farmers. The green revolution promised much, but today it is under controversies. It is being accused that it has caused land degradation due to overuse of chemicals. It's okay that after independence, our government has worked a lot and we have started our green revolution. And commonly, if you would like to see the result of green revolution, then we consider that it is beneficial. It is beneficial for the product, for the good quality products from agriculture. But let me tell you that green revolution is also been accused that green revolution has caused land degradation. Okay, it is land degradation is profitable, no doubt, but along with that, our green revolution is creating very different types of problem also, like land degradation. Okay, so how land degradation is increasing? Students, it is very clear that with the help of green revolution, our farmers are getting high profile seeds also. Okay, and high quality of chemicals also, and they are using these chemicals and fertilizers in very large amount. So what is the result? Very large amount of using these chemicals and fertilizers, it is equal to land degradation due to overuse of chemicals. Okay, drying aquifers and vanishing biodiversity. The keyword today is gene revolution, which includes genetic engineering. So now you are thinking, then ma'am, if our green revolution is also creating lots of problems, then what should we do? What should we do? What should be the alternative on the place of green revolution. So students, we have many alternatives, like I have written other alternatives, okay, but I will not explain these alternatives in this video, because in this video I think this much material is enough to you, okay. Tomorrow in my next video I will give you the explanation about these other alternatives, okay students. I will tell you about these other alternatives. So what we have discussed today, I am repeating, we have discussed contribution of agriculture to the national economy. It means how much is the contribution of our agriculture in the national economy, how much our agriculture is paying in GDP, okay students. And impact of globalization on agriculture we have discussed. So just read these pages very carefully, okay, understand the topic and try to prepare your own notes, okay students. Thanks a lot students, have a good day.